How's it going, guys? My name is Zach, or OpTic Tuber, and I've got another tutorial for you guys. This one is not an After Effects tutorial, but it is a theater mode tutorial. So I'm going to be showing you guys how to record cinematics in theater mode, the best way to do that, and some settings that you probably want to have in theater mode. Click here to jump to any part of the tutorial, or just click play from beginning to start the tutorial from the beginning. So I'm going to start off just by loading up a film, just a random film, to show you guys. I'm going to start film. And a cool thing about theater mode is, if you get a clip, I recommend that you save it to your vault. Because if you do that, and I'm loading up a film from a long time ago, and just because it's saved in my vault, I have access to everything. Not just the clip, I have access to every single person. I have access to flying around the world and all sorts of different things that you need to just have full control over whatever you want to do. So right off the bat, I want to show you guys a setting that you probably want to change. So if you press start and go to options, you want to change the theater button layout from, I think the default, here's the default. You want to change it to bad bot. And what that's going to do is just change the mapping of some of the buttons on your controller. And this way it'll be much easier to change the speed, and I'll show you about that later. Alright, so I'm just going to go back, and the rest of this is alright. You can change it if you want though. So let me find a cinematic that I want to record. Alright, so if you press your left thumbstick in, that brings up your options. It also toggles it on and off. And if you press B on Xbox, I'm sure it's circle on PS3, you can remove the heads-up display. So if you look in the bottom left-hand corner, that little kill feed goes away. So we want to have it all gone when you record your cinematic. So I'm just going to press B to remove it. If you press the right bumper, you can toggle between free roam mode, edit camera mode, and dolly mode. So before we record any cinematics, let's go ahead and load up some of the film so it's easier to work with. So I'm going to press the D-pad to the right until you can see that the speed changes to times 6. And then I'm just going to press play. I'm going to let it load up some of the bars you can see in the bottom. That way we can go through the film a little bit easier. Alright, I think that's enough. Alright, so to record my cinematic, I'm going to go find a block that has nobody running through it. So this one looks good, between 20 and 30 seconds you can see. I'm going to go to the 20-second block, and I'm going to toggle to the edit camera mode by pressing the right bumper. I'm going to insert a camera, and make sure you insert it on the view that you want to. So I'm going to do a view maybe around here. I'm going to press the right stick in to insert a camera, and you can see that inserted a camera at 20 seconds. So it's important that you insert it at the time you want to and in the direction you want to. If you press B, you can toggle the heads-up display, and it actually shows what that camera is showing in the top left, which is pretty useful. So I'm going to use the right trigger to go to 30 seconds. It'll jump 10 seconds forward. And then I'm going to set the end point where my camera is going to end, which maybe I'll do something like this. And then press the right stick again. And you can see that set up a camera path. So if I go back to 20 seconds by pressing left trigger, and then I go to dolly cam mode, it'll actually show me what the cameras are showing. So before you hit play to preview it, make sure you turn the speed back down to 1, or you could even take it all the way down to 0.1 speed by pressing down on your D-pad. I'm just going to set it to 1. Alright, so I'm going to press the left stick to get rid of the display, and then I'm just going to press play. And you can see, this is what we've got. Pretty cool.
A secure. Enemy S Charlie.
Alright, so I'm going to watch it one more time, and this time on my recording device, I'm going to hit record. And you want to hit record before you play it. Then you go ahead and play it. The reason you want to hit record first is so that you don't cut off any of the recording.
Enemy S Charlie.
And then once it ends, I'm going to hit stop record. Like I said, you can play the cinematic back at a very low speed, Now obviously this is a little bit too slow, this is overkill, but the reason you may want to do this is so that if you wanted to do any slow motion, it would look really smooth. You wouldn't have to use Twixtor or anything. You could just use this slow motion in the cinematic. And you can always speed it up later so it looks normal speed, and then you could do a nice slow time ramp or something. You know, it gives you a lot more control, but obviously the file sizes are going to be bigger, and this is kind of overkill. Alright, so that's how to do a very basic cinematic. Let's do one that's a little bit more complicated. So before we go to the next cinematic, what you have to do is actually remove these markers. And to remove these camera markers, just go up, fly up next to one, and you can see this yellow outline, and then you press the right stick. It'll give you some options. And we'll talk about these options in a second, but what we want to do is remove all markers. Yes, and now they are gone. Alright, so let's say that we wanted to not only do a simple dolly cam, but we wanted to do one that moved in many directions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around 20 seconds, the same spot was good, and I'm going to set a marker right about here. So make sure you are in edit camera mode and then press the right stick in. Made a marker. Next I'm going to move actually 20 seconds forward, so press right trigger twice. Then I'm going to set a marker right about here. So you can see this is our camera path, and it goes through the building, which is obviously not what we want. But what we can do is go to our middle point. So press left trigger to go back to 30 seconds. And then set a marker, maybe looking up this way or something. And you can see now our camera path bends around this way, and then comes to our final destination, and it really smooths out the camera path. So if I go to dolly cam mode, I'm going to preview this really quick. See, it loops around this corner.
A secure.
Pretty cool.
Enemy S Charlie. Securing B. B locked down. We've taken the advantage.
Alright, that's a pretty cool cinematic. As long as you space the markers out evenly, there won't be a big change of speed that'll look weird. It'll be nice and smooth. So I could even move 10 seconds forward again, and you know, move the camera up this way, and you can see that it'll create just like a nice bend, and so on. So like I said, if you fly up to any of the cameras, you can press the right stick in, and it'll give you options. They give you some options on the speed mode. You can change it to linear and bring down the speed for that camera path. I actually don't recommend that you use this because it's much easier to do this in a program like After Effects or Vegas, and it gives you a lot more control. Because if you record it a certain way, you can never go back. If you do it in an outside program, you have a lot more control. Some useful ones are reposition camera and remove marker. So remove marker will just remove this one, and remove all markers will remove all of them, obviously. So if we reposition camera, we can maybe move this over, maybe look in this direction, and then press the right stick to accept the changes, and then press done, and you can see it repositioned the camera. It didn't change the point in time, so it's still going to be the same timing, it's just going to be looking in a different direction. So that's a great way to reposition a camera without messing up and redoing everything. Alright, I'm going to go up to one of my cameras, hit the right stick, and remove all markers again. Now let's just do one more cinematic. I'm going to show you guys a great way to record a cinematic if you don't have access to the film in theater mode. So I'm going to leave the lobby, I'm going to go to custom games, and then I'm going to set up a game here. I'm going to change the map to whatever map the clip is on, obviously. Let's just do like raid, is fine. The game mode, what you want to change it to. Most of the time, free-for-all would be a good game type, but in Black Ops 2, they don't actually let you change the team if you choose free-for-all. So you should probably choose Team Deathmatch, and then just maybe bump up the time to like unlimited, and the rest is good. And a very important setting that you want is to change the game recording to on. And then go in to create a class and create the class that you want. And what we're going to be doing is creating a death animation. So let's say someone gets a kill and you want to do a cinematic on that person dying. I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm probably just going to use a red gun. This one looks good. And we'll use that one. So let's go ahead and start the game. I'm going to choose that class that I had. So by default, I think it'll auto assign you to a random team. So you can see what team you are on the bottom left corner. You can see I'm FBI. So you actually want to make sure that you're on the right team. So FBI is fine, but if you're on the wrong team, you want to go to change team and then change the other team and then spawn in. Alright, so go to the spot where your clip is. I'm just going to go to a random spot because I don't actually have a clip. About here, I guess, is fine. So let's say he's shooting from up here. So I'm going to be facing that direction, or just try to, this part you want to keep as consistent as what's in your clip as possible. So if you're facing this direction and he kills you, then do that, but I'm just going to face this direction. And this part's kind of important. What you want to do is press start, change team, and then you're going to change the other team. But what you want to do is, instead of just changing to the team, you want to double tap A so you spawn in as soon as possible. Because you have to be spawned in order to do cinematics. Which is really weird. I don't know why Black Ops 2 does that, but you have to be spawned in. So I'm going to press AA, and then I spawn in really quickly. So then my dead body was killed over there, so we're done with our cinematic. So I'm going to go ahead and end the game. I'm going to go back, leave the lobby, and then go to theater, select film. And then under my recent games, if you turned recording on, which like you're supposed to, it should show up right here in your recent games. And then go ahead and start that up. Alright, so then what I'm going to do is just press the right D-pad, or the D-pad to the right, so I can load up the entire film. It'll just fast forward it, go all the way to 6%. And those little red markers on the bottom actually show where the deaths are, so the second red marker is what we want. So if you just give it a second, it'll load up. Alright. It's all loaded up. So you want to toggle the heads-up display off by pressing B. And you want to press Y to get to free cam. Press it a couple times. Alright, so here's what we have. And if we go back to 1% speed, we can see what happens. Just have a nice death animation in a second. Alright, so you saw that little jump, that little jump there. That's what I was telling you about. It won't let you record cinematics unless you're spawned in. So that's that little time that it took me to spawn in. But I think I did it fast enough that it's not going to be an issue. So I'm going to go actually at 0.1 speed and wait for him to die. Alright, maybe speed it up a little bit. Alright, so here's where he dies. So I'm going to take it all the way down to 0.1 speed. I am going to find the shot that I want. So let's see. The low shot is pretty good a lot of the time. So maybe from down here. So I'm going to go to my edit camera mode by pressing the right bumper. Press the right stick in. And then I'm going to move forward to the end of his little death animation, or to whatever point you want the camera to end. This looks like a pretty good spot. And then I can just move the camera and then find the spot that I want and press the right stick again. And now we have a little camera animation. And if we go into our dolly camera mode, you want to make sure that you're playing this at 0.1 speed, because that'll give you so much more control in your editing program to do slow motion. You won't have to use Twixtor or anything. So make sure it's at 0.1 speed. I'm going to close the display. I'm going to go into my recording software and press record. And then I'm going to press A to play it back. And here it's playing back at 0.1 speed. And we have a nice little death animation to use at certain points when he gets the kill. So when you're in your editing program, you obviously don't want to be playing it back at 0.1 speed. What I usually do is I speed it up 10 times to get it back to regular speed. And then I can do a little speed ramp. And if you don't know how to do that, I'll probably do a tutorial on that later. But basically it goes from regular speed and then it ramps smoothly into slow motion, just kind of like Twixtor. And the 0.1 speed really helps out with that. But yeah guys, that's basically how I do my cinematics. The combination of using dolly cam in theater mode and setting up different scenes. Now obviously if you need an actor, you can actually run around in the custom game and do whatever you need, and then go back into theater mode and record that. In this case, I used a death animation, and you can do this all by yourself, but you could also just be running around and record that too. Now, obviously, if you have more than one person, you're going to need a friend to help you out. But all the principles should be the same, and this tutorial hopefully gave you the tools that you need to do any sort of cinematic. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section below. But other than that, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please leave a like, that helps me out a ton. Check out these other tutorials if you want to learn more about editing. And I'll catch you guys in the next video.